Hi guys! So as you've seen by the thumbnail, in this week's video I'm going to make a zombie in a jar. And the reason for this is, well, why not? I really want to have a go at sculpting more things using Sculpey. So that's what I'm going to do. So to start with, I take a jar. So I popped into Tesco's and bought the cheapest jar they had, which just happened to be this peanut butter. And then it's just a case of, voila, getting rid of that, cleaning out the glass, and there we have one jar for about 60p. So I'm also going to put some lights in the top, as I'm going to have some resin in this. I thought it'd be nice to sort of light it up from within, really. So I'm using these nice little cheap LEDs, bought from Amazon, as pretty much everything I buy is from Amazon, apart from obviously the glass jar, like I say, from Tesco's. And then taking my Super Sculpey and some wire. So basically I'm going to make up a little sort of framework or sort of skeleton for the little figure. And then yeah, it's a case of basically going around it and adding the Sculpey. So yeah, so I've got quite a lot of varieties of wire, nice and cheap, but nice and soft as well, the wire I use. Just obviously this makes it a lot easier to bend and manipulate and to get it in the size and shape that you need. So there's going to be his legs. Obviously I keep checking to make sure he will fit inside the jar. And you'll find out near the end that actually when I made him, he only just fitted in the jar. So using more of the wires, I can make the arms. And I've got this lovely thin wire, which is great for wrapping around the whole thing and just secures it in place. I mean, eventually I do normally go over the thing with a bit of super glue anyway, just to make sure things do hold and don't move. But using the wire just sort of helps things stay in place initially. And then yeah, it's just a case of really going around the thing, sort of bulking it out. Because this is quite a small little figure, I'm just going straight over the wire with the Super Sculpey. But if this had been a bigger, sort of fatter, larger figure, then I would have packed it out first with some tin foil. But I say this is quite a small figure. So yeah, straight over the thing with Super Sculpey. And I say this stuff's great as well. I've only really been using it for a little while, but it's easy to manipulate, move around, because it is very, very soft. And obviously the great thing with this stuff is you bake it in the oven, and then it goes rock hard. So there's only really a few tools that I use with this sort of stuff. Obviously the main one's my hands. I've got this nice sort of cutting tool, just to cut nice straight edges and straight bits. And then I've got a variety of, well, they're kind of like the dentist tools. So there's a few sharp ones, a few round ones, but obviously basically good for manipulating and making small little sort of movements and dents and smoothing things out really. So yeah, use a variety of those tools. Obviously I'm making this figure in the style of the Plants v Zombies zombie, just because I think he looks pretty cool and he's quite a fun and comical looking one, rather than your sort of like your scary, gruesome one. So yeah, I'm pleased with how his little booties have come out, and obviously he's got a ripped trouser there, so that's going down. As you'll have seen from this, you can see that the colour is changing here, and that's basically because the good thing with Sculpey is you can build a bit and then you can bake it in the oven. It goes on a low temperature. I typically put mine in for about 15 minutes, and then yeah, you leave it obviously to cool down because it comes out really hot. But then when you've done that, you can then add bits to it, knowing that you're not going to damage, break or squidge the bits that you've previously made. And as you'll see throughout this video, you can re-bake this Sculpey loads and loads of times, which is pretty cool, because I say you don't want to sort of make something and then go on to make something else and then you ruin the first bit. So yes, every now and then, after I've done quite a bit of sculpting and building on this, I'll stick him in the oven for 15 minutes, just so that I could go on to the next bit and know I wasn't going to ruin anything. So yeah, let me know guys if you do enjoy these sort of Sculpey builds. I certainly enjoyed making them. I am still going to be doing some like scratch bashing from sort of like plastic and rubbish and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just fancy trying something different, something I haven't done before. And I've definitely not made a zombie in a jar before. Very random, but yeah, sort of fun to make and something completely different basically. So yeah, let me know in the comments guys if you do sort of like these kind of builds. But so yeah, I will be doing a variety, well, a whole variety of builds really, from sprue builds, scratch building stuff. Yeah, a bit of all sorts really, which is kind of nice. So as I say, with this build I was using like a reference photo just to sort of copy, and I'm kind of really pleased with how he came out. But I am going to go out making some things, sort of random things, just out of my memory really, or do a few drawings and then try and make something. And something I've always wanted to make, which I don't know if I've said it before or not, is to make a mini-me. Just yeah, just make a mini-me in, well, I'm not too sure how it's going to look, but yeah, so that's something I'm going to have a go at doing soon, is making a smaller version of me, and then maybe if I can, make a small version, but then cast it so I can make a whole variety of copies, which would be quite cool. Just to mention, guys, obviously everything I am using in this video I will leave descriptions down below, and yeah, say everything I do buy normally is from Amazon, obviously apart from the glass jar in this thing from Tesco's. So I am an affiliate with Amazon, which basically means it doesn't cost you any more, but every time you buy something from them, if you click on my link first, then I get a few pence from it. Which again, everything I make, guys, goes back into this channel, because a lot of the stuff I buy can be quite expensive, or not necessarily expensive, but when you buy lots of stuff, then that obviously all mounts up. So yeah, any little bit helps from you guys buying stuff from Amazon, obviously becoming a patron, or basically just watching my videos and sharing and liking, as that helps promote it to more people. All good stuff. As you can see, I've used a couple of ball bearings for his eyes. Again, the main reason for this is just to make sure I can make them nice and round, and I'm not going to basically squidge them halfway down. I could have made these out of Sculpey, but I bought a box of ball bearings, I don't know, months and months ago, and I've not used any. So I think it's about time I started sort of incorporating them into some of the builds. And yeah, so they're just great because you put them in. Obviously you can bake them because obviously they're metal. But yeah, you know, you can work around them and they're not going to get squished. And there we go. So as you can see, his head's kind of got a bit burnt there, but that's basically because in the oven he was getting higher and higher, and yeah, his head was kind of like near the top of the oven. So yeah, it may have been in a little bit too long, but hey ho. So the teeth I've also done separately, so they're nice and solid and hard. And again, this makes it nice and easy to put them in place, knowing they won't get squished. But as you can see here, sometimes I do forget that I'm filming, and sometimes what I'm working on, yeah, basically isn't quite in the shot. So obviously you get a nice view of his feet, but I am still working on his teeth. So the Sculpey really is nice and easy to use and manipulate, and obviously to make things with. So obviously here we go, making lots of little fingers for the little dude, and yeah, we'll put them on and sort of blend them in. So I just want to take a little moment to say thank you to all my patrons for helping support the channel. As I say, it is quite expensive sometimes to buy lots of pieces. So yeah, so the help of these guys really helps me produce more and more videos. And if you want to become a patron and help out, there will be a link down in the description, as well as a link at the end of the video, just with sort of like details on how you can become a patron, support the channel, and get to see some behind the scenes work in progress pictures, as generally when I'm working on something I will take pictures throughout it, and sometimes video. So yes, all my patrons get to see what I'm working on sort of step by step basically, which is pretty cool. So cheers guys. So I'm really pleased with how this chap's coming on. There's only a few sort of stages left to go, and yes, I'm going to work on his tie, but as he's in sort of like this jar full of goop, I thought I'd have the tie so it's kind of like floating. So what I've done is I've stuck a little bit of wire inside the Sculpey, just so that I can bend it and form it into the shape I want. I mean, you could obviously do this with Sculpey without the wire in there, but then when you put it in the oven, it would just sort of like, not melt, but it'll sort of like just fall down. So having the wire in there will keep it up at this angle and look like the look like the tie is floating. So I've painted mine with a white primer, but the good thing with the Sculpey is you don't actually need to prime it. You could just paint straight over it normally. But say as I kind of like burnt his head a little bit, just to make it easier and the colours look a bit more uniformed, I thought I'd give him a spray paint of white, just as a nice base coat to go over basically. So yes, I'm using these nice acrylic paints, again from Amazon. These were nice and cheap, and the good thing is there's obviously lots in them. Most of the paints I was buying previous to this were like the sort of the Vallejo paints or the Army War Painter paints. But obviously they're quite expensive for a small sort of like little pot, which sometimes obviously doesn't last very long, especially if you're building something big or larger that needs a lot of paint on it. So yeah, buying these acrylic ones in these bigger pots, much cheaper, and also the good thing is you can mix them into each other to make even more colours. They do seem to go on a little bit sort of wet looking, so most of the times that I use it, I do have to do at least 2 coats, sometimes 3, just in case I want to get it really sort of like thick and good looking. So yeah, so the colours that come with it are pretty cool, and there's certainly enough colours for me to be able to do this little chap, because obviously there's not a whole lot of different colours to him. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with how he's looking. He's looking quite comical and funny. And yeah, I can't wait to get him in the glass. So obviously using the liquid resin, it's something I haven't really used much of, and when I have used it, it hasn't necessarily always gone to plan. So I am hoping now that obviously I'm doing all this work, all this painting, all this model making here, And I'm hoping I'm not going to ruin it when they pour the liquid resin in. But we'll see. And well, you'll see very soon what actually happens. So one thing I did learn before when I did make something and obviously painted it then put it in liquid resin, and that was some of the paint actually comes off the model you painted and sort of like mixes in with the clear resin. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a good old spray with this clear varnish, just so it's kind of like a bond and a seal over him, so none of the paint should sort of like leak off. So yeah, using the jar, I'm going to got this little sand that I'm going to put in the bottom, just because originally I was going to have it so he was like walking on the bottom of the sea. But then I kind of thought, well now, rather than having a blue sort of like tint to the resin, I'd rather have it green, because obviously green is the colour of zombies, or this zombie anyway, and that just gives more of an eerie sort of looking. So yeah, putting the stones at the bottom, and then getting on with the mixing up of the clear resin. Again, this stuff I've had this for months and months and months. I have used bits of it to make sort of a few bits here and there, but I've never really used it as like a clear sort of resin as it should be. So yeah, this is quite a nice easy one to mix. It's basically a ratio of 2 to 1. But again, you're obviously using the scales makes it so much easier and obviously more accurate. Because if you don't get it accurate, then when you mix it up, it'll rather never set, or it'll take forever to set, or it might even just set too quick. But yeah, this stuff's pretty cool and easy to use. So this is coming up where I do actually make a little bit of a mistake with this stuff, and that is I put too much colouring in. You really only need a little dab, and as you'll see, the big old squirt goes in. So what I should have done was actually put the squirt onto a little brush, or even the stick, and then I could have put some in gradually. So as you can see, it is quite thick and looking quite well, green. Ideally this should have been a lot lighter green, but hey ho, so we learn by our mistakes, and this is certainly one of those. So yeah, when adding colour to the liquid resin, guys, or the clear resin, really only put a very small dab in, give it a good mix, see how it looks, and if you need more, add more. And the one that I was using, the clear liquid, had a setting time of around 20 hours. So, and I'm not sure what the mixing time is, but you certainly have plenty of time to sort of put a little bit in, mix it right up, and if you need to, add more. So that is one big mistake I made. And as you can see, when I pour it in, yeah, he's kind of disappeared a little bit. You can roughly make him out, but obviously my intention was to be able to see him really clearly. So as you'll see in the next finished video bits, yeah, he is quite dark and difficult to see. This is him with a bright light sort of facing onto him. And I've even adjusted the colour to sort of like try and see it a bit better. But as you can see, it is quite difficult to make him out. So I'm a bit gutted really. I certainly enjoyed the build process and the painting and the jar and all the rest of it. I'm just upset with myself and a bit gutted that I put too much paint in with the clear resin. As yeah, this isn't quite how I wanted it to come out. But what I did find was obviously putting a light behind him makes it better to obviously see his sort of like the silhouette of him, but obviously you still can't really sort of see the detail within him, which I say is a bit of a shame. But again, we all learn by our mistakes, and hopefully next time we do something, they come out so much better. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and if you're new here, subscribe for more of my videos. Okay, bye for now.